Right, superb. Hi Nathan, how you going, mate? You right?
Very well yourself.
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Uh, South Africa, old friends or old foes?
Probably a mixture of the two. We shared a hotel with them last year, so we ended up socialising, having quite a few chats with them. Really nice guys. Always going to be competitive though.
Uh, yeah, there seems to be a little bit of a lag on this, so do forgive me. Is this going to be your hardest game this year?
Who we go, me or Ben?
You, Nathan.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, looking at the first scoreline, they obviously were pretty successful against the Aussies. I've seen their TRC games. They're, probably a typical South African squad in terms of they've got some very good ball carriers, some really evasive players out in the back three. They come with a hugely physical presence, look to dominate around the set piece, impose those ball carries on you. And so they've got some pretty electric players out wide. So, judging by the first team, their first match in the World Cup, they're obviously a definite threat. We had some decent games in the Six Nations, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how the Southern Hemisphere kind of matches up with the Northern for us this weekend. And probably get a decent test as to where we are at and where they're at. But yeah, mate, it's going to be proper arm wrestle for sure.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, coming on to the scrum, yeah, well, that's your speciality. It's traditionally a very strong area for them, isn't it? Is it something that gets the juices flowing, you as a coach?
100%, mate. Yeah. Yeah. Come on, mate. Yeah, like for myself and the boys, like you want to scrummage against the best packs. South Africa are going to bring physical presence. Like they've got some big men in there, and they're brought up scrummaging. So we expect it to be a decent arm wrestle. The Scotland team, they've had a really good scrum as well with some really good players in it. So we've had pretty decent warm up going into the South Africa game. They really tested us. But, we're going to be looking to try and assert dominance in the scrum, as I'm sure they are. So the boys are excited. There's a little bit of you feel there's a little bit of edge in the scrum session we had today in anticipation for it.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, what do you have to do to get on top of their scrum?
I'm trying to think of how to answer this without sounding really noisy and giving away too many trade secrets. So the South Africans, as I said, they're big and heavy. We need to make sure. I'm trying to work out how to answer this, mate, without saying what we're going to try and do. We need to. How can I do it? So how can I? How can I answer it? I think what we've got a plan for this weekend, and we know they're big, we know they're heavy, so we need to make
Right.
sure that we're scrummaging on our terms and dictating what this scrum's gonna try and look like, which we think hopefully will give us that edge. But if you go toe to toe and with the South African pack, it's gonna be they're gonna be physical. They're gonna try and scrum for dominance. So we need to make sure that firstly we can go toe to toe with our mindset, and secondly we're kind of doing it on our terms with the plan we're going to put into place.
I guess you need to be disciplined. Is that something you've been working on this week?
Yeah, 100%. Always think with kind of age group teams in and around the scrums as well. I think discipline's key because I think the boys are, a lot of these guys are still learning their craft. Obviously, they're not fully refined it yet, so it's them being disciplined. Obviously, not to give away penalties, but also like disciplined in their setups, how they engage, where they're taking their steps, like all the parts of their scrummaging, which they're probably, as I said, learners that they don't know it inside out, and they're going to be in some pretty decent heat and under some fatigue. Discipline to try and stick to what they need to be doing individually and collectively to try and assert their dominance in the set piece.
Have you picked your front row to match theirs, or to but that you feel is the best fit to maybe deal with their power? Is probably the better way of putting it.
Yeah, I think like in terms of selection, we've got two plus the other lads as well, like genuine packs that can scrimmage against each other. Like today, the boys, they're going hard. There's not like there's a clear first choice with the we've got 140 kilo tired against 115, and we're going to pick the 140 kilo tired because it's South Africa. We don't have that in our squad makeup. So what we have got is two packs that want to scrummage against each other, and the way that we speak about it is like today for us, our scrum session. It's like how do we put ourselves in the best position to go and scrummage against South Africa? And it's about them competing with each other, them trying to make each other better by going, look, this is the best I can scrummage, and I'm going to bring my game to you. And then can you match it? And then when you get that and let's say, for example, I win 1 week in the scrum, and then Ben tries to work it out because he's my opposite number and he scrummages against me, and then he beats me, and we just keep making each other better. And that's how we have to try and do it. And that's the philosophy we go through, is that if I win one scrum, and then I might go, Ben, this is what I felt from you. And then he goes, right, okay, that's the fix up, bang. And then we just keep trying to level each other up the whole time. So we kind of don't treat it as, or we treat it as, a whole kind of unit with the front row, and always trying to improve each other. And it might be that the starters play X amount of minutes. Maybe they may end up breaking even, but then you bench roll on and it's about them then finishing the job. So it's always that constant competitiveness, knowing that where you're trying to finally get to. Sorry, that was long-winded.
It's all right. Well, I'm going to ask Ben a couple of questions if you don't mind. Congratulations on being named co-captain. How will it feel to actually captain your country?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great privilege. Managed to captain the group against Wales in one of our warm-up games, which was another great opportunity for me. But yeah, to be able to do it in the Junior World Cup with Tom Burrow, who I've known for so long, is a great opportunity for me, and I'm really grateful for it.
You've obviously toured South Africa, I think, didn't you, with England under-18s? I did do a quick Wikipedia, so apologies if it's badly wrong. Do you know what to expect from them?
Yeah, no, I think this will be the fifth time I've played South Africa. We're just playing them 3 times in that under-18s age group, and then playing them back in our group last year in the 20s World Cup as well. Look, as Kai's kind of alluded to, they've got a big, heavy pack and some backs that are pretty elusive. So, yeah, it'd be really important for us to be able to front up physically and match them, and then be able to. We've got some pretty electric backs as well, so it'll be a great game.
How good has the England under-20 setup been for your development, Ben?
Oh, it's been excellent. It's kind of knowing Mark Mapletoft, who's coached me since I was under-17s, coming into the system under-18s, and having him to be able to come all the way through to the under-20s as well has been excellent, and been great for my personal development on and off the pitch, really, around rugby up at Newcastle Falcons that might not have gone as well as we'd liked up there, but to be able to come into this environment and co-captain, as you've already mentioned, has been a great opportunity, and that's what ultimately they've given me. So yeah, no, really, really important.
When you look at one of your teammates from last season, Mr. Pollock, who's now on a Lions tour, does that show you what the under-20s can lead to and doors that it can open?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, Henry's done really well to take all of his opportunities he's had so far coming off the back of that tournament in South Africa. He's done really well. And to be able to see him and do so well in the Lions shirt is pretty special as well. And I think the fact that we've got a few lads in the England setup on that summer tour to Argentina as well, Afaf, Sogbon, Asher, like lads, they're doing really well. It's really good to see, and it's really nice for the lads here to be able to look up to them and hopefully see what's coming up for them in the future as well. But we all know we've got to work hard to get to those positions and take our opportunities.
Yeah, well, that must give you Yeah, but that must be like dangling a carrot in front of you, those kind of opportunities. And it's up to you now whether or not you take them, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. As I said, Henry's done really well to take every opportunity he's had so far, and he's clearly done really well with that. So yeah, for me and the rest of the lads, it's about grasping the opportunity and going to try and win this tournament, and then kick on after it.
Yeah, but I know you've been in camp for a while. Have you been to Gloucester yet?
I've visited for a medical, but that's about it really. So yeah, looking forward to getting started down there.
Yeah, but you're looking forward to the moving process. It's pretty stressful, probably less stressful
Yeah,
than facing South Africa. I mean, yeah.
no, yeah, well, I'm trying to take it one step at a time. I've kind of already moved all my stuff down to a flat down there, but yeah, no, focus is fully on South Africa at the minute. Obviously that's in the background, and I'll deal with that when it comes to it. But yeah, no, really excited for what's to come with them. But yeah, all focus on South Africa on Friday.
Yeah, well, I know that England won last year for the first time in 8 years, was it? Yeah, was it? Yeah, was it 8 competitions? The first under 20s World Cup. Yeah, but are they like London buses? Do they come along two at a time?
I hope so. Well, I hope so.
Okay, mate. Yeah, well, I'll let Wilfred step in.
Thanks. Cheers. Hi. I'm with, I'm with Next Gen 15. I'm slightly near on the scene, but I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot of me coming up. So thanks for giving your time, Nathan Ben. Really appreciate it. Nathan, I want to start with you. South Africa haven't won under 20s competition since 2012. They look seriously handy. The first game was a complete blowout. But why do you think it's taken them so long to really shine at this age group level? Because they've really struggled in recent years, and it's odd considering they've probably been the best team in world rugby for the last 10 years or so, give or take.
Yeah, to be completely honest, I'm going to struggle to answer this question in detail because I don't know the pathway set up of South Africa amazingly well. All I can almost do is say like it is surprising, isn't it, when you think they've been so dominant at senior level to then not have that same success within the kind of pathway probably wouldn't add up, and you'd expect them to be probably more dominant than they have been in that pathway setup. From what I mean, last year they were decent. Obviously, we did manage to beat them, but it was on the 79th minute. It was a proper arm wrestle of a game. And it came through at the end, and as we've seen, said it was a blowout against. You said it was a blowout against Australia. Like they looked lethal. So it's a good crop of players they've obviously got, and for us, it's a really exciting challenge going into Friday night against them because it's going to test all aspects of our game: attack, defense, set piece. Like we're going to have to physically, mentally be on point. So we'll see how Friday night goes. But all we can do is prep ourselves the best we can, and play the South African team we've got, which is coming against us, which look obviously threatening. And as I said, they're the games that you want to be involved in.
Fantastic. Yeah, cheers. Ben, I wanted to ask briefly because you spoke about your relationship with Tom, but being a co-captain at international level, is it something more complicated than just, I'll look after the backs, you go chat to the forwards? What's kind of the dynamic between the two of you?
I think like as we go, we'll figure out more and more. But yeah, as I said, I've known Tom for a while. I've played against him, played with him through for under-18s as well, and now here co-captain with him now that's a great honour. But I think for us, it's just I think we bounce off each other quite well. The way we react to each other, and in terms of when it's not exactly you do the forwards, I'll do the backs kind of job. It's more of we just speak when see fit. Yeah, we'll do our part here and there individually, but yeah, we've worked well together as a group. And for me and Burrow, it's been nice to have a few weeks with him, have him come in, captain the side against Georgia in the warm up, myself captain the Wales game, and then to be able to bounce off each other coming into World Cup has been excellent, and to be able to have a strong leadership group around us as well has been excellent.
No, it's good to hear. I mean, that game against Australia that South Africa played was obviously massive. Have you as a squad all gone back and watched through that? Do you pay much attention to how other sides are going? I mean, it'd be kind of hard not to considering the scoreline. What was your initial reaction to that game, if you've seen any of it? And what do the squad think of it?
Yeah, obviously, initially we were pretty surprised just in terms of how they went back in the league they had there before, where Australia actually won. So yeah, it was a bit of an initial shock, but yeah, I think the lads have kind of taken it on, and it's now just a great challenge for us. As Kai said, it's a great opportunity for us to go out there and express what we are as a team. They've put 70 points on a decent side, Australia, who clearly weren't at their best, but for us to be able to come off the win against Scotland and take all confidence from that going into South Africa, it's going to be a big physical battle that we're completely ready for.
I mean, we've talked a lot about the physical battle. I'll chuck this back over to you, Nathan, but it's a pretty dynamic South African side. I mean, they're 9 and 10 with probably their two best players. Their back row are probably their strongest forwards based off last week anyway. It's a different South African side than people sort of think that a South African side would represent. I mean, has that posed more challenges in the build up to it? Because they're not always going to be sort of big hammers like you expect at the senior level.
Yeah, I think in terms of more challenges, no, 'cause I think we'd seen TRC, and I think, and whilst they obviously had some huge success against Australia in their first World Cup game, I think a lot of what they did was relatively similar along the same theme. So we kind of already pretty much prepped for it. Probably just didn't expect them to have the success they've had, but they had in that game. 70 points was when we saw the score. I was like, wow, that's a lot. They've obviously played pretty well there and taken some opportunities. And yeah, didn't expect that. That being said, as you said, the makeup of their team, they've got ball carriers across their pack, good ball carriers. Same in their kind of inside backs, and those outside backs there. Red's already said it, they're evasive, lethal, give them some space, and they can cause some damage. So plus an aggressive defense. So like they've got they've got strengths across the board really, in terms of the way they play, in terms of their ball carrying threats to the defense. So we know what's coming. We think we know what's coming. We're prepped for what's coming. I think the boys are in mentally an exciting position to go and play against those boys and try and dictate our terms on them. And yeah, it'd be. I'm excited to watch it. I think the boys are excited to play on it, to be honest.
Just got two more little questions. I wanted to talk briefly about the Timmings ban. I'm not fishing for anything particularly controversial, and we don't need to talk about the incident itself. More just it's pretty long ban. They've kind of it's clear they've had the discussion and they've timed it so that he's going to miss the whole tournament, which I personally think is harsh, but it is what it is. How do you feel about the decision they came to? I'm going to chuck this to you, Ben, if it's okay. As someone who's going to have a very long career, hopefully, in the game of rugby, it's a pretty long ban. There's debate around it being harsh, but more so, how do you feel from getting that balance that they're trying to do, which is player safety on the one hand, but also letting guys, Tillings. I've watched him for a number of years. He's not a cynical guy. It's finding that balance. But how do you feel as a player? Like, are you being wrapped up a little bit with these kind of decisions, or you wanna be able to play how you want to play, or do you think it's about right?
Yeah, it's a tough question. No, I think obviously we're good to be missing Timo for the rest of the tournament. But look, I think it's kind of out of our hands really. Not much we can control. So the main kind of message for us and for me as an individual is to try make sure that we deal with what we can and we control what we can control. So yeah, obviously it was a mistake in what happened, but yeah, look, going forward it's black and white really. So not really our decision, out of our hands, but yeah, I think World Rugby will make their decisions and we'll listen. So.
No, fair enough, mate. I'll end with a fun one. This is to either of you. Again, going back to the stuff about Pollock and that progression through to sort of to England and to Lions. It happened a bit quicker than people expected. Out of the squad that you've got, who do you think is going to be the first Lion out of who you've got playing amongst you at the moment?
Okay. Picking individual players up.
Do you reckon, is there someone who you think, I reckon, you know, in the next, you know, 2, 3 years, even sort of 2, 3, 4 years, they could be there?
I'm going front row because I love scrums. And like for me, Billy Seller came last year as an under-19s tight end. He did really well. And he's just starting to kind of break into that Bath team. I think he's got a really high ceiling. That's not to say loads of the other boys don't in the squad. I've also coached him for a little while at Bath as well, so I know him quite well. And I think he's, you know, I think he's got all the kind of attributes to go to you know, pretty high in the game. So I think he'd be someone that I would be going for, and he's a front rower. So put my money there.
Ben, you got a shout?
Yeah, I'll say it back then. I think Archie McParland has done extremely well at Saints. Obviously, he's not been very lucky with injury and stuff, but he works so hard. And he's as much of a nose as Catt is. So to be able to come into this environment, lead the way he has, yeah, he's done really well. And I think a few years at senior level rugby, he'll do really well.
You take shots.
No, that's great stuff. Thank you both. Really appreciate it.
Thanks very much, guys. Wrap up there.
Cheers.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you for your time. Cheers. I'll send out that recording now.
Oh.